The stomach meridian of foot Yangming. The stomach meridian starts from below the eye and goes down touching the border of the lip and goes in front of the ears and then to the neck, chest, and abdomen, and then goes ventrolateral along the thighs. From the knees, it runs outside and it ends at the second fingertip of the back leg. The acupoints we are going to learn are the first acupoint of this meridian, SD1, the acupoint on the thoracic region, SD17, the acupoint on the ventral region, SD25, the acupoint on the lateral side of the thigh, SD31, the acupoint on the knee, SD35, the acupoint on the ankle, SD41, and the acupoint on the lateral side of the second finger, SD45. Okay, let's start with the acupoints on the face. To find SD1, you'll draw a line down from the center of the pupil, and when it crosses with the eye socket, you'll locate the acupoint. Next, you go down to where you can feel the infraorbital foramen. This depression is SD2. Then, the stomach meridian runs on the side of the lip and then to the back of the lower jaw where there is SD6. Then it runs towards the zygomatic arch. At the bottom of the arch, there's the acupoint called SD7. Okay, let's look into it one by one. First, SD1. When the eyes are looking straight, you'll draw a line from the pupil downwards to where you cross the eye socket. At this cross point, there's the acupoint SD1. Then, when you go down, there is an infraorbital foramen. The acupoint SD2 is on this infraorbital foramen. And then you go down and then to the side where there's the lower jaw and the mandibular angle. Above this, there's a breath depression, and this depression is called SD6. Then you go a little up, and there's the zygomatic arch. At the bottom of the zygomatic arch, on the brink, there's the acupoint called SD7. Okay, let's look at a real dog. First, make sure that the dog is looking straight. Then find the pupil and draw a line downward from the pupil. After drawing the line, you'll find the cross point where it crosses with the eye socket. The cross point will be SD1. Next is the acupoint that you take at the little hole on the bone called infraorbital foramen. You locate the acupoint SD2 at this hole, right here. Next acupoint. First, look for the mandibular angle on the lower jaw. There's an angle on the lower jaw. Above this angle, there's a depression. This depression is called SD6. If you go a little above SD6, there is a bony arch that you can feel at the back of the eye. Below the arch, you locate SD7. Next, let's look into the acupoints along the chest. The stomach meridian runs down along the neck and then along the chest, 4 cm lateral to the midline. ST17 is an acupoint that is at the 4th intercostal space and 4 cm lateral from the midline. And when you go 1 intercostal lower at the 5th intercostal space and 4 cm lateral from the midline, there is the acupoint called ST18. The stomach meridian runs down from the chest and then to the abdomen, narrowing down from 4 cm to 2 cm lateral to the midline. Let's find the acupoint called ST25, 2 cm lateral to the navel. The chest and the abdomen, it is at the bottom 1, 2, 3, 4th intercostal space, and then 4 cm lateral to the midline, which is the nipple line. At the 4th intercostal space on the nipple line, you have ST17. And you go 1 intercostal lower and you will be able to find the 5th intercostal space and you have ST18. On the chest, the stomach meridian runs 4 cm lateral to the midline, but when it enters the abdomen, the meridian goes inwards and runs 2 cm lateral to the midline. Goes inside and 2 cm lateral to the navel, you have ST25. Okay, the acupoint ST17. This acupoint is at the 4th intercostal space on the nipple line. Here is ST17. And 1 intercostal below, that is the 5th intercostal space, we locate this point as ST18. On the chest, the stomach meridian runs 4 cm lateral to the midline, but when it is on the abdomen, it gets closer to the center. And then 2 cm lateral from the navel is the acupoint ST25. Okay, let's look into the acupoints on the thighs. The acupoints are ST31, ST32, ST33, ST34, ST35. The landmark acupoints are ST35 and ST31. Find the hip joint and then the femur head. There is a deep depression antero inferior to the femur head. This deep depression is ST31. Next, let's find ST35. ST35 is at the knee. There's a patella at the knee. On the lower border of the patella, there is a patella ligament. ST35 is at the lateral side of the patella ligament. And then draw a line connecting the femur head and ST35. At the middle point of that line, there is an acupoint called ST32. And on that same line, 1/3 from ST35, there's an acupoint called ST33. And on that Dubie femur head line, ST35 femur head line, 1/4 from ST35, there's an acupoint called ST34. Okay, let's look at the bone specimen. Let's look for ST31. First find the femur head and then cranial and inferior to the femur head, there's a depression. There are two muscles here called rectus femoris muscle and lateral great muscle. In between these two muscles, there is a spot where your finger goes in easily. That depression is the acupoint ST31. The next landmark acupoint is ST35 at the knee joint. Usually the knee patella is a little bit above this. Find the patella, the knee plate. On the lower border of the patella, there is a patella ligament. ST35 is at the lateral side of the patella ligament and at the lower border of the patella. Once we understand where ST35 is, let's connect the femur head and ST35. In the middle of femur head ST35 line, there is an acupoint called ST32. And on the femur head ST35 line, 1/3 from ST35 you have ST33. And 1/4 from ST35 you have ST34. Okay, let's find where the femur head using a real dog. It is where the hip joint is. Here's the femur head. It's bumpy. There's a big depression anterior inferior to the femur head. Here's the acupoint ST31. And the next landmark acupoint is ST35. ST35 is on the lower border of the patella, where the patella ligament is attached. It is at the lateral side of the patella ligament where the depression is. Here is ST35. When the knee is bent, there's a depression here. Here is ST35. Then, once knowing where ST35 is, connect ST35 and the femur head. On the ST35 femur head line, at the midpoint, there's the acupoint called ST32. Right in the middle here. Here's the femur head.
ST32 is in the middle of ST35 and femur head.
And next, 1/3 from ST35 on the ST35 femur head line is the acupoint ST33. 1/3. Middle point. And 1/4 from ST35 on the ST35 femur head line is acupoint called ST34. That's all for the stomach meridian acupoints on the thighs. Let's look into the acupoints that are below the knees. We already learned ST35. Let's look into the acupoints on the ankle. ST41 is an acupoint that is in the middle of the medial and external malleolus. Once understanding where ST41 is, draw a line connecting ST35 and ST41. On this ST35-ST41 line, 1/4 from ST35, there's an acupoint called ST36. On this ST35-ST41 line, 2/5 from ST35, there's an acupoint called ST37. The acupoint ST40 is caudal to that ST35-ST41 line. The key point is ST35 and external malleolus. Draw a line connecting ST35 and external malleolus, and in the middle, locate the acupoint ST40. There is ST35 at the knee. There is ST41, the landmark acupoint on the ankle. Let's connect internal and external malleolus and find the middle point, which is ST41. Draw a line connecting ST35 and ST41, and 1/4 from ST35, there is the acupoint ST36. And on the ST35-ST41 line, 2/5 from ST35, there's the acupoint ST37. And then go caudal a little bit to the back. Draw a line connecting ST35 and external malleolus. Right in the middle of that line, there's an acupoint ST40. Okay, using a dog, let's find ST41. ST41 is on the ankle line, right in the middle on the line when connecting the medial and external malleolus. And then let's find the landmark acupoint that is lateral to the patella ligament on the lower border of the patella, which is ST35. Then let's connect ST35 and ST41. On the ST35-ST41 line, 1/4 from the top, there is ST36. On the ST35-ST41 line, 2/5 from ST35, there is ST37. Next, one of the landmarks will change. The landmarks are now ST35 and external malleolus. This yellow point is the landmark called lateral malleolus, external malleolus. We'll connect ST35 and external malleolus, and in the middle, we get ST40. This is a little caudal from the line we just learned. Okay, let's look into the acupoint below the ankle. The stomach meridian ends on the outside on the second finger at the base of the nail. It goes down along the outside of the second metatarsal bone, and at the proximal end, there is ST42. And then you go further down along the metatarsal bone, and distal to the second metatarsal phalangeal joint, you have SD44. Below the ankle, the stomach meridian acupoints are SD42, SD44, and SD45. SD45 is on the side of the second finger at the base of the nail. If you trace along the side of this finger, you'll bump into the metatarsal phalangeal joint. On the distal side, you have SD44, and further up in between the second and third tarsal bone, you have SD42. Looking for the acupoints below the ankle, go along the outside of the second finger. And at the proximal end between the second and third tarsal bones, you have SD42. Then you go further down and on the lateral side of the second tarsal bone, and at the proximal end of the metatarsal phalangeal joint, you have SD44. Going further down, at the lateral side of the second finger at the base of the nail, you have SD45.